So a couple of days ago, people were wondering why I wasn't taking criticism from Genshin Impact players or Wuthering Waves players very seriously. And the reason why this is, in case you guys don't know, is that there's been many content creators who have been voicing a very big issue that I have warned you guys about 3 years ago in Genshin Impact. Full disclosure, when I used to play Genshin Impact, I was convinced that I was being botted by followers and viewers. And once I got blacklisted from Genshin Impact, because in case you don't know, I used to be a part of the Preferred Creator program. And when I was in that program, my viewership was up by about 2K to the day after I got blacklisted. And suddenly my chat felt a lot more cohesive and a lot more normal. Now, the problem is that before that, I really couldn't tell what was going on because very glaring issues no one would point out. And if I ever spoke critically of the game, my chat would get incredibly hostile. Now, whether that be a very toxic positive community, which we have seen that it is, or whether that be some artificial third-party means, I wasn't entirely sure and I could never really prove it, because no one would really ever speak up on the issue. But I believe over my 4 to 5 years of being a content creator on YouTube, I'm very transparent with the things that I say to my community, and I'm very transparent to my audience, because that's very important, as well to other creators. Regardless of whether you like me or whether you hate me, I think there's one thing that you can admit, and that is I attempt to deliver the truth to my audience, even at a detriment to my own self. And I think that's where a lot of my worth comes as a content creator, where I don't bullshit my audience ever. And if I do have a bad stance, I can at least defend it and let you see the logic on how I got to that, whether you agree or disagree. This happened a lot for the beginning of Genshin Impact. And honestly, it happened a little bit throughout the history of Genshin Impact for the longevity of the game. For people who weren't blacklisted. Now, there were some people who were preferred creators that it didn't seem to happen to, and there were creators where it did seem to happen to. And it was very hard to kind of understand why this was happening or who was doing this, whether it was themselves, whether it was a company, who's to know. I really can't speak on why it was happening. But there is something that I can confirm, and that is that Braxophone put out a tweet yesterday. And the tweet reads, I was follow-botted on stream today, just over 100 accounts. The bots would say something positive about Genshin Impact and something negative about Wuthering Waves. Insanity. Now, these are all first-time chatters. And the messages go from, a scope tilas this Genshin Impact's attention to detail is impeccable. Wuthering Wave is riddled with sloppy mistakes. Did you know Genshin Impact's puzzles are clever? Wuthering Waves puzzles are childish. Genshin Impact's boss fights are thrilling. Wuthering Waves bosses are pushovers. Hey, did you notice how seamless Genshin Impact's cooperative play is? Wuthering Waves multiplayer is a disaster. To be fair, they're very funny, especially the ones Pyro Red is fine as real thrilling, bro. Now, the reason why it's very difficult right now to take the community's concerns on what is good and what is bad is a phrase called astroturfing. And I'm going to pull this up because I've been saying it quite a bit because that is currently what's happening. So, astroturfing is the deceptive practice of presenting orchestrated marketing or public relations campaign in the guise of unsolicited comments of members of the public. This is exactly what I think it is. People are having ulterior motives to say that Genshin Impact is bad or Genshin Impact is good and Wuthering Waves is bad as a way to further their narrative of don't quit the game that we've sunk a lot of time into, continue playing Genshin Impact, fuck Wuthering Waves. Now, this is a very real thing that a lot of companies do. Now, this would be an issue this wouldn't really be an issue if it was just Braxophone. However, during my 36-hour live stream, I received a lot of followers. And as you can tell, these spike in followers are pretty normal. Every big spike here was for a giveaway. Okay? Pretty normal follower growth. The more I stream, the more followers I get. However, I went live yesterday for 4 hours. And in 4 hours, I gained 1.4 thousand followers. Now, that's pretty good. You would assume live for 4 hours. Okay, so maybe 350 followers over the course of 4 hours. However, I did no giveaways yesterday. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to show you what I got. 20 followers every 10 minutes throughout the stream. And at the very end, I gained 1,060 followers in the span of 1 minute. There was no giveaway at this time, and that is not a good look. This is what I consider to be very clear follow botting and very clear an agenda to further promote that Wuthering Waves is a bad game and Genshin Impact is a good game. Now, Braxophone has no reason to lie. I have no reason to lie. But this is the reason why it's been a very difficult time to understand what's real and what's fake in Wuthering Waves. I recommend anybody that has only heard hearsay from content creators or other members of the community on what's real and what's not, to go ahead and disregard pretty much anything you read and get this, form your own opinion, your fucking self. Try Wuthering Waves for yourself, because here's the big issue, because this was me yesterday. Kuro Games, we're terribly sorry for the inconvenience. Take this free stuff as an apology. Me who's been having fun. I've had no issues in Wuthering Waves so far, yet I became aware that there were people who were having PC issues en masse. Now, the way that people want you to believe that is that the majority of players were getting PC issues. Now, I'm currently live on twitch.tv/Tectone, as I normally am, to 10,700 people. I am going to run a poll. Have you experienced game-breaking bugs? Better yet, are you able to play the game? Because people are presenting this as the game is in such a bad state that they're not even able to play it. So I'm going to run a poll with 10,000 people in my chat, and we're going to see how they vote. And I'll give it about 30 seconds before I check in and weigh in on what's going on. Okay? Because the problem is that when you take these people's opinions and you take them at face value and you don't question them, you're never really going to get to the understanding of what is actually going on. With 93% of players, they are perfectly able to finally play the fucking game. But the problem is that right now, nefarious means or not, there is follow botting in the game. There are people attempting to push a narrative that Wuthering Waves is unplayable. This is just an undeniable fact, okay? And there are people saying, acting as the minority, portraying themselves as the majority, that Wuthering Waves can't be played, and that's just simply not true. It really depends on your computer, your device, and also, we have now had 7 optimizations going out in the 4 days. This company is trying very hard, and they're being very transparent with everything they're trying to do. I highly recommend that you don't take anybody else's word for it but your own. You can even disregard mine. Go boot up Wuthering Waves. See if it works for yourself. Fuck what I say. But if you're going to deny that there are not people in bad faith attempting to push a negative agenda, well, you are simply just wrong. And I hope that makes you understand this. Now, why is this happening? With all of the contracts that were leaked, with all of the agendas that have been going on, it's not just the company that's afraid of Wuthering Waves. It's the community that's afraid of Wuthering Waves as well, attempting to nitpick every single negative that this game has in order to put their game on a pedestal. You can do whatever it is that you want to do, but rather than try to obliterate Wuthering Waves and act like it's not successful, why don't we just look at the facts? I'm going to show you 2 graphs. The bottom one is Wuthering Waves category, and the top one is Genshin Impact's relevancy. Obviously, Genshin Impact right now is much higher. And this is the part where you got excited that Genshin Impact was doing better. However, that's not the case, because I misspelled Wuthering Waves intentionally in order to prove a point that your bias excites you for Genshin Impact wanting to do good. I'm now going to type it correctly. And as you can see, the state that Wuthering Waves is in right now is far surpassing how Genshin Impact is doing. And that's very important to note, because the game is doing very well. Now, you could also argue it's due to the search term. I'm going to pull up video game. And now the difference is much closer. But as you can tell, the game is doing very good. The game is killing it right now. And you can sit there and you can be angry. And sure, this graph may drop off, but the rate that Wuthering Waves is dropping off is much slower than the rate that Genshin Impact dropped off post-launch. It's actually doing a very good job of maintaining and sustaining their hype, as well as their Twitch viewership 4 days after launch in category-wide 54.6 thousand viewers, compared to Genshin Impact's 3.5 thousand viewers. Now, once again, this is to be expected. You don't really have to be that excited about it, but let's just root our arguments and concerns in reality. Wuthering Waves will most likely become less relevant in Genshin Impact in the future. We'll see how it goes, but you can't deny that the game is doing absolutely fantastic, because here's the other thing. The moment that the Wuthering Waves category gets drops, it's going to blow up even more, because we have yet to see category-wide drops so far. We've only seen a sub-event that viewers aren't going to want to pay $10 for. Let's just stop with the fake bullshit, and let's stop making it so difficult to find relevant people's opinions on how the game state actually is. It's confusing, it's disingenuous, and if we were all just transparent and honest with our audience and with our other community members, we'll be able to get to the bottom of things, because whether you want to admit it or not, Genshin Impact is good for Wuthering Waves, and Wuthering Waves is good for Genshin Impact. We should be competing. We should be fighting. But we should be fighting with truth and logic rather than feelings and opinions. Because the better Genshin Impact becomes, the better Wuthering Waves is going to have to become. The better Wuthering Waves becomes, the more Genshin Impact will become ensued, you'd hope. So let's just argue with logic and facts rather than opinions and feelings, and we'll really get to a better place for both games. And I'll be real, I don't care what Genshin Impact becomes. I have Wuthering Waves now. I'm okay. I'm happy with this game. I am excited for Natlan. Pokemon system will be cool. But in my head, the only thing that I'm thinking is, man, I hope Wuthering Waves gets that instead. Oh, wait, we already do with Echoes. It is what it is. Let's just take the feelings out of the equation. Let's just keep it a buck, and hopefully that helps. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.